Hello art lovers, this is Jon McNaughton. Welcome to my painting studio. Today I'd like to share with you part 2 of the secrets regarding my painting, You Are Not Forgotten. Here you see you've got Sheriff Clark right behind him, who I'd really admire, and you've got different police officers. Okay, I used actual police officers, a male and female, from the police force near where I live. I wanted them to be accurate in the way they were dressed and everything about them, and such good people. Here you see a coal miner in the background. You've got different types of law enforcement, border patrol on the back corner there. I mean, I just admire our veterans so much. Here you have a man from the Vietnam War. He's in a wheelchair. Our veterans. We've got a man up here, another veteran holding a flag behind the forgotten woman. He could be Native American or Mexican American. I don't like to use these Black American, Mexican American, but for the sake of clarifying for the painting, that's why I refer to them as that. Really, we're all Americans. All these different types of veterans. You've got a guy here who's kind of a biker fellow, kind of rough looking. He's wearing the MIA clothing, the leather jacket. And he's got his hand on the shoulder of a mother who lost her son in one of the wars. She's holding one of the folded flags that represent a fallen soldier. And I imagine that perhaps her son was missing in action, and that's why you have the veteran with his hand on her shoulder. You got more veterans behind him. Okay, now this guy, this older fellow here, is holding the flag. This is my neighbor. Just a total gentleman, just the most wonderful man, and I've used him in my paintings before. He saved his World War II uniform, and he puts it on for me, and he's generous enough to let me take his picture, and I put him in the painting. He's so authentic. I mean, this guy, he's the real deal, and I just really admire him, and he's holding the flag. Just love him. Love that man. Got more veterans. You can really feel the pain in their faces. This guy on the left is a veteran, the one in the Levi jacket, one that suffers from PTSD, and he's got his service dog with him. And that is a golden retriever. They use all different kinds of dogs for that. You can see his prosthetic leg. Not the dog, the man. But I used my own dog, Miley, our golden retriever. A beautiful dog, and unfortunately she's getting old, and I don't know how much longer she'll be with us. Kind of like a lot of our World War II veterans. Don't know how much longer they're going to be with us either. This painting's really a salute to them. You are not forgotten, and that is the name of the painting. Okay, one of the most important parts of the painting that I haven't yet discussed is what Trump is doing down here. Do you see that? He's stepping on the head of a snake, of a serpent. Now, the idea behind this is one of the secrets of the painting. People say, what is that about? Well, it is kind of a reference to the Bible where it says that there would be enmity between man and Satan, basically, and that he would have the power to bruise his heel, man would have the power to crush his head. And this reference has a lot of different interpretations. Obviously it's a reference to Christ, that he was able to crush the head of Satan, but I believe that particular verse of Scripture was talking to man in general, that when we exercise the power of God in us, that we have the power to crush evil. And right now, Trump has more power than any man in the world to crush the head of evil. And so this represents evil. And there's so many different forms of that in the world today. There's ISIS, things going on with the media and politics and the swamp and you name it. And there's even more, which I'll leave to your imagination. But this represents the power to crush the head of evil, which I believe Trump's doing, which I believe any of us can do. And so there were some people that were pretty offended that I would put Trump in that role, and they assumed, comparing him to a Christ figure, which I'm not doing. Trump by no means is a Christ figure, but I do believe that sometimes God uses imperfect people to perform his great works. Marvelous works and a wonder is what I consider it. This man is doing some amazing things today, and I really appreciate his courage and his fortitude despite all the opposition that he's received from the left, from the never-Trumpers, from fake news media. Few people could handle that kind of stress, and he seems to thrive on it. So I'm just so grateful for President Trump and what he's doing. An imperfect man that has taken on huge responsibility to save our country and to crush the head of evil. Thank you, President Trump. And to all the forgotten men and women of our country, thank you for being willing to stand up for truth and justice and to vote for people that can really change our country. That's the power of this painting. You are not forgotten. Hope you've enjoyed this little video going through some of the secrets, and we'll talk to you later.